these 3 days, I think that till 6:30 every day is a little bit difficult there, but we try now. We have 15 minutes to have the closing session. So I would like to invite Professor Ali Badran. He is the chairman of the scientific committee. He will discuss now maybe some points about the closing sessions, about the recommendations, what happened during these 3 days. And it is very necessary also to listen to your feedback, because at the end, all these recommendations will be submitted to the media. Also, it will be submitted to the Prince Hamza office and to the Prime Minister, ministries, and also to all partners, all authors who participated and presented paper in such a conference. So, Engineer Adel Hussein also will join me, because she will also take all the notes that he will contribute. And I think that we have about, as I mentioned, 15 minutes for this closing session. So I will leave now the floor to Professor Ali Badran, who will maybe summarize the recommendations for GC results. So, Professor Badran, the floor is for you.
Thank you, Professor Sulaiman. Let me first point out that those recommendations are meant to be not only for Jordan. This is an international or global conference. Therefore, those recommendations are meant to be for the globe. So it's general, it's not bound to a certain country. Anyway, we tried, me and some members of the technical committee, mainly Dr. Samir Asfar and Dr. Hasban, we tried to, Dr. Yassin Hasban, we tried to summarize some of the recommendations that were done or made over the various sessions. Unfortunately, we did not receive enough recommendations from all rapporteurs who were supposed to make a summary out of each session, but we did not get that. The only thing that we got is about 11 items that are put in front of you, and the recommendations are not limited to those ones. We welcome any recommendations from your good selves. They will be added to those who are in here. Now, if you have anything on the spot that you can contribute, you are welcome. Otherwise, I suggest that you let it let it in the hands of the technical committee or the organizing committee in general to make the finalization of those recommendations and make an Arabic translation on that once and when we agree on those recommendations. Okay, now please, you have any? Please, Ali, take the comments that will be given.
So,
Can you please
do you have the mic? If we have mic,
can you stand behind the mic, please? Over here, there is a mic.
there is also another mic. في ميكروفون ثاني؟
Mr. Chairman, in the recommendations that came across quite loudly in the smaller sessions rather than the main plenary session on the first day was statement that cropped up quite a few times, particularly from my business partner, Tia Kinsara, and others, that reliance on forced air conditioning systems is not in any way indicated in items 2 or 3 of the recommendations. Whereas you, if you're telling the world about this excellent Skrida conference, you should emphasize the traditional values of this region in being able to, and you can see it in places like Masdar, where Western consultants are beginning to see that the best and most sustainable way of cooling a building is to use traditional architecture. I taught in the Iranian desert, and I was amazed on the temperatures of 48 outside without any air conditioning that's recommended by LEED, for example. The temperature inside was a very nice 28 to 30, just by simple tall chimneys. When I was taken to the top of Burj Khalifa by the architects from Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, the temperature on the ground in Dubai that day was 54. The temperature up on the top, where you're allowed to go when you're a builder architect, as I was before it was open, was only 37. And the wind was blowing, the building, you could see it moving. And if only they had maximized the use of the wind, and also, most important, right, the height. Fancy building so high with a traditional skyscraper. And if you could say somewhere in the recommendations that we know that we can be sustainable by using traditional vernacular and cultural ways of doing things for buildings. You emphasize in 2 or 3, I can't remember, the cultural values, which the Estadama system in Abu Dhabi has actually put into print. And so you have the answers on your doorstep without having Western consultants telling you you've got to have more and more air conditioning, right, which causes problems. So it'd be nice to see that in the recommendations.
Thank you. I suggest after hot water heating and HVAC, let's add the use of natural cooling, such as wind catchers, right? Wind catchers and let's say cool towers, what we call. I have a paper on that. Wind catchers and natural cooling towers in creating proper environment. Okay? What did you write? We'll do it later.
Yeah,
But just add it after number 3. Okay, any other comments?
Most of the recommendations are aiming at components here, to improve components. But there are also overarching issues. I think food production and water desalination are the basic key issues for renewable energies in energy regions. Applications, the use of renewable energies for energy regions, or for desert regions, sorry. Renewable energies for desert regions. And I think it should have its own headlines and should have also sections, as topical sections in the next GC Reader conference.
Under probably item 7, under diversification of resources of energy in each country. And by the end of that, we can add either there or a separate item, let's say 7 prime. We can put it under 7 prime, which is the how do you like to rephrase it?
Can we make it like, excuse me, water, energy, food mixers? This is maybe encourage research.
Encourage research.
Yeah, in the area of water, energy, food mixers.
Yes.
And separate item.
Yes,
Yes.
Put it after 7, please.
By the way, this is This is the title of the conference. Our conference. It is in Lebanon.
Yes.
No. This
The title of our conference
in
is
Lebanon, which is going to be in December. Let me announce it from
which conference?
It's the Arab Academy of Science.
Well,
In Beirut, yeah.
Arabic Academic
No,
Science.
I'm saying that's okay.
well, you can do
It's
this
okay.
announcement after we finish. This is not part of our recommendation.
Just taking the
If
opportunity.
you want it to be as part of our recommendation, we put it at last, at the end. Okay. I'll let you announce it after we finish.
That's okay.
Okay. You have, yes.
Researches in energy storage systems, medium and large scale systems, especially here in Jordan. I think we can add this point.
Encourage the energy storage systems,
No, encourage researches
researches
in energy storage systems,
on energy storage systems.
medium
Okay.
and large scales, especially in Jordan.
Well, as I said in the beginning, this is a global conference,
Yeah.
and all recommendations should apply everywhere. So, after encourage industrial plans and projects, it could be 5 prime, encourage
Energy,
the use of energy storage systems,
research,
encourage research on energy storage systems, yes,
medium and large scale systems.
on large scale,
Medium and large scale.
on medium and large scale.
Okay.
Okay. Dr. Hassan,
I did not see some work relevant to the life cycle analysis. Right? When I say life cycle analysis, because we want to see, as a fact, life cycle analysis of the renewable system and benchmark it against basically the fossil fuel.
well, this is a technique. Life cycle costing. This is a technique.
Okay.
And where do you want us to add it under the, the various menus or the various topics of the conference?
Because at the end of the day, as a fact, I mean, there's a lot of presentations, they talk about system. Let's basically implement wind energy. Let's implement basically geothermal. But because it sounds like lucrative. However, if you consider it from emission point of view, from water footprint overview, from which is I say energy point of view, it might be, as a matter of fact, for this region, it's not really a good choice.
Okay, we can add it after 7. Let's have a comment 7 double prime, engineer area. 7 double prime, which is encourage the research on life cycle costing of systems. Is that okay? Right. Okay. Any other comments?
So we may add the phrase that the renewable energies are ready to be used, they are competitive right now. This is somehow an outcome of this conference.
So what's the recommendation here?
Recommendation is to get into work, to build lands, to attract investors, to encourage banks to give loans.
Okay, this I think it's better to be placed after 3. Encourage the use of energy, of renewable energy systems.
Now, not to wait another 10 years.
Okay. Encourage after 3, put it 3 prime. Encourage the use of energy, of renewable energy systems right now.
I think it can be paraphrased also to reach to the financial institution in the region. For example, what you see here, we see engineers, right? But you can also reach to the bankers, right? And they also, as a fact, they can bring their experience. For example, like Cairo Bank, they are using the method of incentive right now for their clients. Right? So this basically talk about their experience, how they encourage the renewable energy. So reach with the financial institutions, because at the end of the day, if they don't support that, nothing's going to fly.
Okay, let's put it this way. Deal with energy matters on a global concept that combines energy, economy, and the environment. How about that?
That's a good way.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest a similar thing to you. Also, I think this is no, it would give a larger scope of the
That's
conference
correct.
and make it more.
Okay. Did you take it? What did you say?
Deal with energy master on a global concept that
Matters. Energy matters. On a global scale, including energy, economy, and environment.
Well, it's a start.
Okay. No.
To establish a committee to follow up. It's not working.
Just raise your voice, please.
To establish a committee to follow up the implementation of the recommendations of the conference.
Well, we do that usually on a local scale conference, because if you want to follow it up, you follow it with ministries, electricity companies, with whatever. But here we are talking about a global conference. And I don't think it is beyond the scope of this conference to follow up globally. I don't think we have the capacity to do that. Let's be humble. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
Maybe each participant can do less in his own country when he go back.
Well, but this is it's a separate responsibility. We cannot give it to a certain committee. You follow up on the globe to apply those.
Bottom-up approach, because upward
Please
approach.
raise your voice.
Oh yes. Upward approach is
Which item are you
upward.
talking about?
Oh yes. Bottom-up approach is
Which item?
or recommendation.
Another recommendation.
Other
Okay.
than-
It comes after what?
Other than
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Bottom-up
Just spell it out.
Oh yes. Bottom-up approach is effective than upward approach than comes from a government, because from
Bottom approach.
bottom approach than
Bottom up approach.
that comes from society to the government. Government that gives the society for gives the decisions to make renewals.
Okay. Employ the bottom up بينهم شرطة.
Application.
Bottom up approach in dealing with
And
in dealing with
in dealing with renewals.
renewable energy matters.
Yes. Also.
Okay.
Excuse me. We are talking about recommendations for the future GC Readers Conference.
Right.
And I'm very happy that you mentioned applications of renewable energy in two key sectors, which are building and industry. I think that there is another sector which is missed is agriculture. The applications of renewable energy in agriculture, that's an item to be addressed properly in the next conference. And second, I think that there is a key sector which is missed here is capacity building and education.
By the way,
This is for recommendation.
These recommendations are recommendations for researchers to be considered for the next GC reader. So let's not put the whole energy problems of the world in here. These are recommendations for researches that's going to appear in the next GC reader.
Okay.
One recommendation. I'm raising my hand.
Yeah.
Okay, I have the very first.
Can you please talk in front of the microphone?
Sure. Okay.
Actually, I have an additional recommendation to be added to this list. But before mentioning that recommendation, would you please revisit item number 6?
Number 6.
It is very, very specific. So we are mentioning
enhanced cooperation between international institutes. Okay.
Okay, it's a specific institute. And since we are talking about a global nature of the recommendation for the next time, so we cannot put very specific about one institute. My recommendation is to conduct maybe more researches on the legal framework to prepare the ground for more renewable energy and solar energy projects or to increase the capacities, renewable energy capacities in the MENA region. So it's my recommendation. So insist on working more on the legal framework, policies to prepare the ground or pave the way to implement a new project, renewable energy projects, because as we know, we have actually problems in this regard, not only in Jordan, but
okay, fine. We put it after 6. 6 prime. You rephrase it, please. You phrase it. Speak it out.
Okay, I would try it.
Okay, we'll keep it with you.
Maybe you could formulate it later with some time, you know.
Okay, Dr. Jamil.
What he mentioned is mentioned in another point.
Which is number?
Policy is mentioned where yes, in number 9 and in number 10. But this one about IASA and the Middle East, because these programs are already established and they are working and they conduct studies in this conference. Are you understanding? It's not specific mention because they have related subject and they discuss this. It's not in general. That's all.
It's about reducing the consumption of energy and not creating.
Okay. Rephrase it and we'll put it for you after number 6. Okay? You give it to Ali then.
Okay.
In writing. Okay, Dr. Jamal, Dr. Rahman.
As we are going for a paradigm shift from fossil fuel to green economy, then those isolated desert area should be non-grid or 100% renewable. So we should design our new desert items not to be grid connected, to be autonomous, to be isolated, and also application to be done by renewable. This is to be considered isolated desert region, to get their electricity, to get their water, to get their agriculture, whatever it is, to be autonomous, non-grid, 100% renewable. Then we should have a solar roof program, or whatever it is, solar desalination program. We should have solar mobility. I heard nothing about electromobility, and Jordan is paying a hell of money to buy fossil fuel for those fossil cars. Then we should go for electromobility, electric bicycles, some cars, and having some
Okay, Professor Rahman, we'll add after number 10, after adopt new policies that encourage, etc. We put 10 prime, encourage researchers on off-grid systems. You can rephrase it and give it to...
The magic word that I don't like to miss is that zero energy buildings.
Okay.
Which is enforced to all Europe with 2 years.
Okay.
All the buildings should have to be connected to
Could you
utility.
Could you
Zero energy buildings.
Could you please rephrase it and give it to Engineer Alia?
Plus electromobility.
Whatever you say. Okay. Yeah.
There's a lot of renewables included in these recommendations, and if you include a lot of renewables, automatically the question of storage is raised, because at some point you will need to install storage. And that's
We
also
mentioned storage.
in your recommendation.
No, here we added. I think.
Yeah, we'll add all the recommendation and then we'll send it to you all by emails.
Okay. Yeah.
Throughout the sessions of this conference, most lecturers were concerned about the economical side of the renewable energy and maybe mostly to the mechanical side of the technology. But nothing of importance is given to electrical engineering in this...
Economics of electrical engineering or electrical engineering at large?
Technical side of the process, or renewable energy, I mean. I think electrical engineering and power electronics should be more involved in the next conference.
Encourage. Let's say where we put that. We'll look into that later, but just put it an item. Encourage.
Let me rephrase it. Let us have high penetration of renewable energy in our grids, and then having balancing and be ready to the smart grids and so on. In our grids, there is only red electrons. Let us have high portion of wind and solar to be charged on our grids. This means high penetration of renewable energy in the grid with balancing and be ready for load management and the smart grids. This is a new era around the world.
Okay. Let's put it after the item which Dr. Rahman just mentioned before.
High penetration of renewable energy.
So high penetration, and you take it from Dr. Rahman.
So we made this two recommendation from you, Professor Osman.
If you have any ideas, you can send it over by email to the GC Reader. You know the GC Reader email, and we would like you to kind of let the organizing committee formulate those recommendations, and they come up with it in the near future. Is that okay?
Can I have only one comment? Okay, I think that since DLR was also with us in this conference, so it was many presentation about concentrated solar power, CSP. So might be if one recommendations can be added about maybe utilizing of CSP technology for desert area or something. I hope that maybe Dr. Lai can rephrase this recommendation about CSP utilization. And maybe other recommendations that I would like to suggest about maybe the renewable energy and energy strategy in the desert areas. That I think that in addition to the encouraging, so we need like the implementations and the mechanism to implement the renewable energy and energy strategy in the whole area. We have it. Most countries they have it on the papers, but still not. There is no mechanism how to activate it.
Okay, this should come after number 10 as 10 double prime and 10 triple prime. Just please rephrase them and give them to Alia. I see that you have something to say.
Well, not to the subjects of the conference, but to the style. Would it be possible to sharpen the profiles of sessions, the topical profiles, so that the sessions are really targeted at the topic, and that there is a space for discussing the contributions together. Right now, the discussion of contributions was always much too small in many cases. So maybe one can have some round tables for some topical issues.
Well, I understand your comment, but I think this is an internal comment, kind of speak. It is, we accept your comment as an internal comment. It has nothing to do with recommendations that will come up to the public. Okay. We understand that this depends on who is going to be the chairman of the next organizing committee. So I understand that. So let's leave that to the next organizing committee 2 years from now. The last recommendation we want you to observe, and if you like to vote on that, it is comment number 12, which is to convene the GC reader, the 5th GC reader that's going to be in 2015, in the period between August 24th and September 13th. Almost the same period that this GC reader was convened within. And the reason, to tell you the truth, is that this comes in a period of time that's appropriate for us here in Jordan, because it comes between the summer session and the first semester of the new year. And as you see, now the university is almost empty, and that's why all of our capacities are here in the conference. But if there are students, it could be possible even to get those 2 lecture halls at the same time for 2 parallel sessions. Therefore, do you agree on that? Is that appropriate? Okay, let's take that as a recommendation for the next organizing committee. Yes, Dr. Rahman?
We have got a solid example for the expansion of renewable energy in Jordan in 2050 by DLR, by our honored colleague who spoke on behalf of Mr. Thomas Fisher. There has been a computer model, which is capacity expansion model, and he has been mentioning how much is going to be installed, what type and where and so on. So there is already a scientific solution has been worked out, and optimization has been done. Then should be the target of the next GC reader, where to go and how and which technology, according to the prescription done by the DLR research and Mr. Thomas Fisher. There is already scientific study and optimization and the modeling, and we have this one and the hot spots. So if we approve the authenticity and the quality of this modeling, then we should target. It is a solid example for the future of Jordan. Which technology, which industry, which money, which manpower should be prepared to get the 2,000 megawatt in wind. You need people to run this program. You need banks, you need media. So if we put the study and the details which has been represented as a solid example for the future, and we check it, then we try to work according to this work plan.
Okay, let me phrase it this way. Yeah. Develop the programs that were prepared by the DLR towards more specific goals in solving energy problems, whether in Jordan or elsewhere. Because this is a global conference, you know. We cannot keep it within the borders of Jordan. But we would like them to develop that, to apply in Jordan and everywhere towards more specific goals. Okay? Alia, did you take that? Okay. Dr. Salami, I think it's time for you to say something before we leave.
Okay, thank you, Professor Badran. Again, we apologize for letting you stay with us till the evening. We'd like, on the behalf of the organizing committee of GC Reader, we'd like to thank you all for your contribution, your attendance, your participation as either as authors or as a participant. I think that it was maybe this conference, the attendance was very good in most of the sessions. We hope that maybe next time we can make it till 5 o'clock maximum, not till 7 or and if we need 2 or 3 parallel sessions, as Professor Badran mentioned, we have 3 auditorium here. We can distribute maybe if we have many presentations to be in the 3 sessions. I would like to thank also our partners also who participated either as a keynote speakers or as invited speakers. The organizer of also the 5th German Jordanian workshop shared by Professor Ajib. Also many thanks for also merging this workshop also with the conference. Also Mr. Mordi Milad, he is also organizing, he organized the board meeting for Desertic University Network. It was also in the side of the conference. So also we'd like to thank all participants who came from Europe, from Japan, from Africa, from Asia to be with us here, and also our also participants from Jordan. And please forgive us for any shortcomings that happened during the conference. So this is we try to do our best, but we know that sometimes nothing will be perfect. And we'll stay with you in contact with the email, and we'll send you the recommendation of the conference, and hopefully to see you very soon in other activity there. Yeah, and by this we can come to the end of our 3 days conference. Thanks again, and see you hopefully inshallah next year or after next year.
Maybe between the 6th or between the 7th and the 8th of December this year. And the theme of
Where?
It's in Lebanon, in Beirut, right? And it's been always that's the place for that conference. And despite all odds, we're not going to change it, hopefully. But the theme of the conference, it is water, energy, nexus, and waste management. So that's the theme this year.
So I was participating with Dr. Assam in this conference.
You will see a lot of the colleagues.